I relate to them. I do not let them think that just because I'm the coach that I've never been through anything. That's what makes a coach a good coach is the experiences that you do bring to the table. But what makes you a really good coach is when you are not afraid to share those experiences to let them know, I see you, I feel you, I've been there.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm Kevin, and today we are joined by Nicole Smith. She's been a coach for over 30 plus years with her practice of over 6 years. She's the founder of JMS Creative Leadership Solutions. Welcome to the podcast, Nicole.
Hello, Kevin. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm excited about having this conversation with you.
Me too, because I think pre-podcast you were telling me that you've been a coach for like 30 plus years. It's not that often we get someone like that. So let's start at the beginning. Let's start at the origin story, the lore. What made you become a coach and turn it into a business?
Goodness. Well, I've always been a coach. You know what, Kevin? I didn't realize I was being a coach. I didn't realize that I was mentoring and coaching individuals throughout my corporate career. And with me having a stint or some time in human resources, you always have people come in your office and you would coach them. So I decided, after 30 years or 26 years in the corporate space, I said, it's time for me to hop out and see if I can do this on my own. And I'm doing it on my own. The secret, though, is that I had to create a framework for my coaching, because coaching is not giving advice and suggesting things to do. I literally have to live off of my experience, but also to decide the type of coach I want it to be. And so that was a pivotal point in my career. So I've always been a coach, but didn't realize I was doing it.
Yeah. Let's kind of talk about your business. How did you find out like EQ was your thing, and who do you kind of help actually?
I love this question because emotional intelligence is a trendy term right now. And I realized the day that I called the vice president of finance an ass. Like, I was an HR director. I slammed my fist on my desk and I said, "You are an ass." And I realized that I gave away my emotional power. I realized that I handed over the narrative for him to use on my life. And I was like, So that's where I was a little upset with that piece in regards to, he took me out of character. But if you go back, I have a psychology degree. We touched on it a little bit, emotional intelligence, a little bit, but not too much. But I realized with my psychology background and the human behaviorism in the workplace background, I said, there's something here to where I can help individuals understand the impact of their behavior, specifically in the workplace, but it does cross over into the home. And so that's when I started diving in, and from there, digging into neuroscience, getting my certification in regards to neuroscience coaching and emotional intelligence practitioner, where I can give assessments to help people like yourself, high achievers like yourself, see where they can use emotional intelligence to thrive, not only just survive in situations or chaos and crisis as you see today.
What's an example of like using emotional intelligence to thrive through your experience?
Not calling the vice president an ass. No, being able to recognize the stimulus, right? That's coming towards you and that's creating the emotions and the feelings that you have. And being able to take that as data and then being very intentional now with how you respond. Being very intentional in the decisions you make. Being very intentional with the words you use, your body language and communication. And understanding that you using your emotional intelligence helps you gain buy-in, helps people trust you, but also too lets them respect you in the fact that you're not just using it as a soft skill, you're using it as smart business. how to not be manipulative, but be an influence in regards to how you modeling your behavior. Because the people are watching you, and people really don't care about your title today. They look at your character. They look at your behavior. So, different examples of when you're in hard conversations, when you are making hard decisions, hiring practices, firing practices. So every instance of that throughout the workplace is where you are actually using emotional intelligence as smart business.
So who are the people that are asking you for like your services and stuff? Is it like account executives in the sales sector? Is it other HR people? Is it like C-suite people? I'm kind of curious the type of people.
Everyone that you just listed. Here's the thing though. I work with individuals. My age used to start about 35. I have noticed it's going down to 30 because the younger generation is realizing that they need to process their emotions a little better, specifically in the workplace. But it's all of those people. I look for individuals that have about 6 to 10 years of experience, because you have experiences that now you can fall back on and say, hey, I didn't like the way that went. I don't like how I responded in that situation. When I work with C-suite or CEOs, for instance, they're usually at a pivotal point where they see that something's not working. They may be good leaders, right? But something's not working. Or they've had a moment that took them out of their character, and now they have to pivot. Now they have to reset. And so people are coming to me going, what's the issue here? Can you help me be better at conversations? Well, then I have to dive in deeper to go, okay, what is your narrative? What are your responses to certain situations? So I work with all industries. I work with people at all levels, but I do like that you have at least a decade of experience, of work experience to be able to fall back on certain experiences.
That's really interesting about the whole decade thing too, because I think around that point, you're starting to go into like leadership roles, and now you're starting to see the impact of your like not only your own emotional baggage, but on others as well.
Right. Absolutely. You're starting to see decisions. You're starting to see the results of the decisions you've made. You're starting to see the consequences of how you may have communicated. Plus, if you think about it, that when you're in your 20s and you just graduated from, let's say, college, you're looking for more of a mentor than a coach at that time, right? Plus, in the 20s, your finances may not be able to hire a coach like myself, and that's fine. So when you start leveling up to your point, of course, you start getting promotions and pay raises. You can now truly invest in your professional development, and now you're looking for somebody to coach you versus just mentor you and give you those suggestions or, hey, I did it this way. Maybe you should try this type of guidance. You're looking for someone to, I want to say, be able to put the mirror up in front of your face and say, okay, now let's walk through some self-discovery and see where we can put you on a better path to be able to level up a little easier than trying to struggle on your own. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And I also want to ask, like, okay, so we kind of know who you help and the problems that you kind of help with. Let's talk about marketing. So how do these people typically find you? What kind of marketing are you doing right now in your business?
Right now, I'm all over the socials. So I'm heavy on LinkedIn. So you can find me on LinkedIn. I do, go on Instagram and Facebook. Of course, as we know, there's different demographics on each of the socials. I play on TikTok every once in a while. I market on the socials, but I have to say word of mouth is probably my highest type of marketing. And we all know if somebody can refer you, Kevin, or speak your name in rooms that you're not in, that means you're doing something right. Okay. And this is where I truly am grateful for the people that trust me with their livelihood and trust me with their friends or whoever they refer. We all know that it's easier to retain clients than it is to try to get new ones. So I really try to nurture relationships and show individuals or organizations that this is a true investment. This is not a shot in the arm. This is transformation, and you have to practice it, and you have to do it every day, just the same way you practice football or you practice an instrument or you practice a language, learning a new language. It's the same concept. And this is why I say it's not just a soft skill, right? It's not just about learning leadership competencies. It all falls on either under the umbrella of emotional intelligence, or as I like to say, on the foundation of emotional intelligence.
Yeah, it's really interesting. One of the things I wanted to ask you is because when we think about the term emotional intelligence, I think you alluded to it before. A lot of people consider it a soft skill or kind of like very subjective. It's not like sales where you can tie it, like you can directly tie it to a revenue number. And so one of the things that a lot of coaches that I've noticed that struggle listening to this is like pricing and stuff.
Right.
And so I'd love to get your opinion on like pricing strategies. Obviously, you don't have to give any hard numbers,
Yeah.
but like I'm curious how you price like something that is something like emotional intelligence. So do you do like project based, value based retainers? Like how do you structure
Yes.
your
Yes and yes. Yes and yes. So to your point, I don't do hourly. So a lot of people want to come to me and they think coaching is $89.95 an hour. And I'm going, no, it's not an hour. I actually have for like my coaching engagements, for instance, it all depends on what you're looking for because I have assessments as well. I would encourage you to take assessments so you'll know where you are, so you'll understand how to get where you're going. So I have engagements. It is based on, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. How long do you want to be in this engagement? That's my coaching. And when I do workshops for organization, again, it's based on what the outcomes based on the value, but also to the time, like 4 hours, a full day, a series, and so forth, because also too, my time is valuable, right? As coaches or somebody that provides a service, we tend to forget the time that we put into designing curriculum, because I design curriculum. And so in designing curriculum, designing programs, designing my coaching, because I actually have a framework I follow. So I have to make sure that we're following that framework. So I price it off of my value, but I also price it on the outcome that you're going to receive. To your point, it's hard to put a dollar amount on transformation, right? But I do show organizations the metrics that's related back to behaviors and attitudes in the workplace. Because behaviors and attitudes does affect your employee engagement. It does affect your turnover and your attrition. It does affect your performance, which we know ties to the bottom line. So I help organizations see how all this is not woo-woo. This is neuroscience. We can relate it back to behaviors and attitudes because that does affect your performance. So I guess I would be called a high ticket coach, as they say in that space. But before we get lost in the price, I tell clients, what do you want to achieve? What do you desire? And what is the price that you'll put on that? Because Kevin, the cost of you not investing is going to be way higher. It's going to be way higher for organizations and it's going to be way higher for yourself. So to your point, it is hard to price. That is probably something that's really hard in my business. Do I negotiate? Absolutely. Do I work with different budgets because whether it's nonprofit or whether it's for profit? Absolutely. I do take all that into consideration, but I do price my value. And I know how much I'm worth. So I do price my value.
Yeah. It's very interesting because I'm not sure if you know, I'm super into neuroscience and all that sort of stuff too.
Yeah.
And so I personally see the effects of like employee retention,
Right.
also sales, because like I used to be head of sales for a lot of YouTubers and stuff.
Right.
And so I definitely see the impact for it. So I was just curious on your like how you like frame it and all that too.
Well, also too, going back to sales, there you do have a higher closure rate if you are leaning more into your emotional intelligence because of that social intelligence, because you're in tune to your client that you're trying to sell to, right? Are you transformational? Are you transitional? Are you just, moving? Transactional. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. Thank you so much. Or are you transactional? So it's where are you placing this relationship? But also too, are you demonstrating empathy as a sales employee? Are you demonstrating empathy to that client's pain point, to that client's problem? And if that client knows they are being heard, if that client knows they're being seen, they are more likely to buy your service, to buy your product. And so you'll close faster as a salesperson. Yeah.
Yeah, and through my experience too, it's not only it's part of that, but then like The beautiful thing about sales is the first human touch point. And so it sets the foundation for a good engagement downstream. And it's also really good for the marketing and all that, for content and all that, because you get really truthful answers, real discussions. It's not like high pressure and
Yeah.
like manipulative and all that. So yeah.
Manipulative. That's the word, manipulative. Nobody wants to feel like they're talking to a used car salesman, right? Where it's just
No one ever is like, oh my God, I hope I get manipulated today.
no, right?
I never hear people say that.
But do know that people are walking into situations and people are walking into these environments where they're already not trusting. I walk in
Yes.
trusting. I walk in trusting, and you, right or wrong, you can say I'm a fool for doing it. But I walk in trusting until you show me not to trust you. We today, our brain is to fight, flight, or freeze. We go in already defensive. We already go in ready to fight, ready to defend, ready to flee, ready to, do all that stuff that we're not even thinking, well, how can I work with this person to where we both have a win-win? I feel like this person is looking out for my best interest. I don't feel manipulative. So it's how our brain is wired. And with the neuroscience, it's how our brain is wired. And we have to create those new pathways to go in trusting until you show us otherwise.
Yeah. And something interesting, I want to go back to something you said earlier. You do assessments, organizational trainings, you
Yeah.
do develop programs. I'm so curious about your different coaching modalities or offers that you have in your business. I know some coaches do one-on-one, some do group. You alluded to other things, but are there any other like kind of services that you provide in your business that most people wouldn't know about?
Yes. So I do one-on-one coaching, but to be honest with you, I've been working lately in the past 18 months with more organizations. And when I say organizations, it's still one-on-one. They'll call me to coach their executives, their managers or directors, or even their high potentials, people that they are creating a succession pipeline, which listen, if you're creating a succession pipeline, kudos to you, because there are a lot of organizations that are not. So if you see your high potentials or hypos as they call them, yes, I coach them as well. What's interesting is when I offer a group coaching program, I'm going to be very honest with you, not a lot of people sign up for that because people are afraid to be vulnerable in front of others. And I say vulnerable, they say embarrassed or shamed. And we need to rewrite that narrative, because when you are vulnerable in a group, you create this community where you don't feel alone, and people are sitting there going, oh my God, Kevin, I'm so glad you said that in this group environment, because I've been feeling the same way. Listen, there's a warm feeling when you feel that other people are going through the same thing with you. So I do the group as well, but that's rare. When I go in and do workshops, facilitate workshops, of course, that's a group. I like to say I do apply a little bit of coaching throughout my workshops. But one of the big things I do in my workshops is I help that group, especially in an organization, I help that team get to know one another. Because to our point, that creates that trust. It creates that team dynamic that you want, where everyone will work together and work for the good of the mission and the vision at hand, right? So I do those workshops. I also perform keynotes. I just had a keynote yesterday. I perform keynotes. I'm on podcasts, as you see here, panels. I'm an author. So I do a variety of things to make sure my message gets across to the masses.
I'm really curious because I'm really into things like deep work and shadow work and stuff like that too. And when you're doing it in a group, what are your ways to make it safe, I guess, like in those environments?
Initially going in, I do create that safe container. When you asked me that, the first thing I thought about was, I don't talk. And I'm like, what does that mean, Nicole? What I say is I provide space for others to share their story. I connect with them in regards to sharing my story in the beginning, because I have a story. I do. I grew up in an emotionally chaotic household. I understand what they're going through. I've been in the corporate space. I've worked in different industries. I get it. I do. I get it. I want to toss tables over to there's chaos and crisis going on. I get it. So the first thing I do is I relate to them. I do not let them think that just because I'm the coach that I've never been through anything. That's what makes a coach a good coach, is the experiences that you do bring to the table. But what makes you a really good coach is when you are not afraid to share those experiences, to let them know, I see you, I feel you, I've been there. But then to my point, Kevin, I stop talking and I allow them to now bring their stories into the space, right? I give them that chance for them to share their stories and be able to relate to others as well. Now, I do have to say, I do define myself as an instructional coach because with emotional intelligence and with neuroscience and the things I do, I have to teach you about this topic, right? So you can see how to incorporate it, how to apply it in your life, and how to execute on it. So there's times where I am facilitating, and I think that increases my credibility as well. So they can sit here and go, oh, she does know what she's talking about, right? I create that space that allows them to tell their story as well and let them know that their story is extremely important and they have a message as well.
I think that's really interesting because by leading with your vulnerable story, it's like an implicit way of communicating like, hey, this is okay to talk about here. And it gets people like also vulnerable too. I love that.
It's okay.
I think we can kind of see the impact of your work and how you kind of do it, but I'm very curious on your future goals. And so you've been in the game for about 6 years now with your current practice.
Yes.
And so I guess where do you want your coaching business to take you in the next few years? Do you have any secret dreams, big ambitions? Do you want to scale? Like, I would love to hear all about it.
Yeah, I do have some secret dreams. I would love to scale. I would love to expand my business to where I'm not the talent, if that makes sense. Meaning, I would love to bring on other coaches onto my team that can facilitate my EQ impact framework that I have. I would love to bring in other facilitators that can be power or master facilitators like myself. And I actually would eventually love to have more of my revenue come from the speaking arm of my business. So being on, keynote stages, panels, and so forth, and have those paid speaking engagements. I just dropped a book recently on this past Monday, a few days ago, where I actually incorporated my EQ impact in my original #1 bestseller, 20 Golden Leadership Nuggets, that I wrote in 2019. And so basically I just tore that book apart and rewrote it to where I now have incorporated that emotional intelligence piece that you can apply in real time. So I would like to, in my secret dreams, is to become that keynote speaker where I speak towards my book and the concepts in there and help people be able to walk boldly in their transformation and walk boldly in their mindset mastery in regards to emotional intelligence. So I hope that answers your question. Do I want to become a multi-million-dollar coaching practice? Absolutely. I mean, as in would
Yeah.
anyone, but I would have to grow my team for that and make sure that everyone's on the same page in regards to my framework.
Yeah, and as you think about scaling and building out your team and transitioning more into paid speaking, I guess, more your revenue, what kind of challenges, bottlenecks are you kind of noticing in this season of your coaching business right now as you're headed toward that?
Well, sometimes we can be our own bottleneck, right? Sometimes we can be our own challenge. I'm gonna be honest with you. But no, some of the challenges I have is, and I just spoke about this the other day, is that I'm selling transformation. And that's sometimes hard for people to grab onto. I'm not selling a product like my book. I can sell my book and everybody's like, oh, okay. And they feel that that is the Band-Aid. They feel that that's the shot in the arm. But transformation is a journey. So that can be a challenge as well. I think if I didn't say be better at marketing or be better at selling the outcome, I think I would do a disservice to myself. I think we could always be better at marketing our business. But, also to pacing myself, I can't do everything at once. I have brilliant ideas, right? But I can't lay them all out at once. So I have to sit back and understand within the next 12 to 24 months, what needs to be my focus. And I've already decided that. I've already decided what's going to be my focus. So I'm trying to work through that and truly understand, is this really the magic bean or is it a distraction? Because sometimes some of the ideas you have can be distractions from doing what you really need to do. I do, Kevin, feel that as coaches, we feel that if something's not working in 30, 60, 90 days, scrap it, start over. And I go, no, I've learned, no, don't scrap it, start over. Maybe we just need to refine it. Maybe we need to look at it and maybe instead of going left, we need to go right with the plan, but still stay on the course, right? So I'm learning as a business owner myself in regards to what's going to work, evaluating that consistently and understanding what's not going to work and be brave enough to say that's not going to work and push it to the side. So there's a lot of self-discovery in this, but also to being honest with yourself and saying, hey, Nicole, you're getting in your way. You need to move out the way. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing your honest experience.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of coaches can really relate into getting their own way or like getting really upset or discouraged sometimes, like when something doesn't go the way as expected to. And loved how you reframed that as well. Nicole, let's move on to our next session. Do you want to play a mini game?
Okay. I guess I'm very competitive. Go ahead.
It's not one of those. It's not a Japanese game show style, but I wish Davis won't let me. But I like this game because it draws out a lot of different stories. And one of the things that we're focusing on this season is business investments because most coaches like invest at some point, some time and whatnot too. And so this game is called First, Last, Best, Worst. So what we're going to do is I'm going to prompt you like a phrase.
Okay.
And just say the first thing that comes to mind. Okay.
First, last, do I have to say that? First, last, best, worst?
I'll prompt you.
Okay,
I'll prompt you.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay. Tell me about your first business investment.
Oh gosh. I invested in growing my LinkedIn platform and gaining clients, calls, and growing my connections and so forth. That was I jumped into that fairly quickly when I first started 6 years ago. So that was my first.
Was that a program or were you just investing?
I worked with a vendor who had, and his programs is slick today, but when I first got on it, he had like 8 different tools, which all worked together. It was seamless. It was good. I refer people to him all the time, but it was where the automation, sending out messages, connecting with people, getting calls. So it was like an automation to where it automatically did that. And then me and my admin was probably my admin was my first best investment. I would have to say investing in that team member. But in regards to a tool that we invested in, then she was able to go in and respond to messages and so forth. And it grew my LinkedIn like 500%. It was amazing to the point where we had to pull back because we couldn't respond to everything that was coming in, which I guess was a good problem to have. But that was, I have to say, my first investment. And when we pulled back, I had to literally circle back around to understand when business slowed down, what was it? And I realized it was when we pulled back from working with that vendor. So no regrets, but it was just, I had to like think about, okay, now how can I get back into that to get the same momentum?
Got it. Okay. Last business investment you made.
It was trash. I'm still trying to get my money back from this vendor. I will not, of course, say who that vendor is, but they took me and I lost a lot of trust now in those vendors that are like that one particular. I'm like, I shy away from it. Made big promises, did not deliver, very disappointed. Some people say, oh, that wasn't a lot of money, but it was money. Money that was taken is a lot of money, whether it's $5 or whether it's $50 million, right? It was taken and you did not get the service that you paid for. But that was just this past December, January. And now I'm going to be very honest. When people come to me now, I'm like, okay, I need a vial of blood. I need your left pinky toe before I invest any of that stuff. So, but yeah, that was lesson learned. Big lesson.
Man, we've all been through that.
We've all been through that. And anybody that's listening to this that hasn't made a bad investment, it's coming. It's coming. Because remember what I said, I go in trusting? And so now the lesson learned is now I know it's not just about asking questions. It's about asking the right questions. And I feel I didn't ask the right questions. So lesson learned for me. And so I'm to this day still working to get my money back.
We'll touch upon that in a second.
Okay.
We'll finish up this game.
Okay.
Best business investment you made?
Well, like I said, I think my admin, when you invest in your people, I think that is everything. And I have to say, my admin, who also is my social media manager, who does a fantastic job on my social media, is the best investment I made. And I would do it 2 times over again. If I could clone her, I would. People always ask me, can I hire her part-time? No. I have to say my talent that I have on my team is the best investment. And when I invest in them, like professional development and so forth, it's the best investment. Yeah. So I encourage people to invest in your talent.
This might double up, but your worst business investment?
It was the last one. That one just makes my hair stands on end when I think about it right now. And it was, like I said, Kevin, it wasn't a lot of money, but still, you took my money and I didn't get what I paid for. And I wind up investing in other tools that I found I didn't even need. And it just all went to hell in a handbasket. And so when I have to get lawyers involved, I'm pissed. I'm mad. That's mad. Bad. Yeah. So that was that was the worst one. Yeah.
That's crazy. Over a $5 ebook. No, just kidding.
No, over a $5 ebook. No. It was a few $1,000. Yeah. So I think what makes me furious is that I had the chance it was either that vendor or another vendor, and I basically just chose the wrong door, right? And that's what makes me furious in that regard. And the fact too that people are out there taking advantage of small businesses, because running a small business, there's nothing small about it. And the only reason why it's small is because of the way they label your business, right? Financial wise and tax purposes. And for you to take advantage of a business that is my livelihood, that helps me pay my household bills and it helps me pay for college tuitions and for my children and stuff like that. That's where I'm just like, come on, people, we have to do better. We have got to do better. Even if me as a coach, right? When I charge people when they are investing in me, I take that seriously. You're investing in me, and I'm honored that you're investing in me. So I'm going to give you 2,000%. There's other vendors that are out there that are not like that. So that's disheartening.
As you're reflecting upon these stories, one of the things I like about First, Last, Best, Worst, I learned it from a storyteller, by the way, Matthew Dix. But anyways, I'm very curious, as you're sparking up these stories, I guess how has your decision-making process changed in what to invest in over the years?
Like I said, asking the right questions. I literally have a list, depending on what the vendor does. I actually have a list of questions. Also, too, when it comes time for investing, everything can be negotiated, right? I think I'm going stronger with my negotiation skills, but also to ensuring that what is the guarantee? Sometimes there is no guarantee, In my business, I don't have a guarantee. I guarantee it will work if you do the work, but there's no guarantee in regards to you getting your money back type of thing. But I ask better questions. Also, too, I pause. I take the time to see what I'm investing in is it something that's needed right now, or is it a distraction in what I'm doing? But and also too, I ask other people that are close to me, what their thoughts are. Because my husband, for instance, he's in finance. He counts every penny. So I have to run things by him just to make sure that I'm understanding the perspective and get his perspective. So so I just sit back and think a little bit longer than pulling the trigger so quick.
Yeah, you mentioned asking the right questions. I'm sure you have a whole list of questions.
Yeah.
But out of that list of questions, which one do you feel like is the most important that you feel like?
How much is it? No. How much is it? I like to say, how many other clients are you working with right now? Can I speak to one of them? I learned that from my years in the corporate space. When I used to go on sales calls with my sales folks, people wanted to talk to other clients that did the same thing, but I literally want to talk to them. I want to talk to them. I look them up. Where are they? I do my research on Google. Yeah. So that's one of my main ones now is I I need testimonials. I need people that say, yes, this is the way to go. I need ROI. What is your average ROI on this for your organizations? How many have you worked with like me that do what I do? I don't do resumes. I don't help people find job placements. So that's nice. You can do that, but I don't do that. So what is the return on investment for my service, for what I do? So I really dig down into that, and I'm not trying to help you meet your quota for the quarter. So I'm not moving fast. Yeah. So this is on my pace. So I make sure that's very clear up front.
Ooh, love it. Thank you for sharing all. That's my last question. Nicole, how can people find you? How can people connect with you? And tell us the name of your book.
Absolutely. So first of all, my book is 20 Golden Leadership Nuggets Refined by EQ Impact. This is of course you see this is my proof because it's not for resale, but here's my book. It is a labor of love. I basically tore apart my first book and I added in here nuggets that will help you be able to apply emotional intelligence today, right now. And that is what we call emotional brilliant. I want you to be emotionally brilliant every day at work, home, in the community. How can you get this book and how can you contact me? I do have a website. It's www.NicoleFSmith.com. Everything out there is about me. My store to go buy the book. I have workbooks that you see behind me. I have free resources for you, and you can follow me on all the socials: Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok at the Nicole F. Smith, and you can reach out to me. Here's one thing that's different about me too, is that I do respond to you. Yes, my admin looks at messages and so forth, but I love interacting with the people. And that is what I do. I interact with you. I do engage with you.
I love it. Nicole, thank you so much for dropping all your experience on this podcast. I think sometimes people forget the impact of the deeper work, the inner work, the EQ, and all that
Yes.
on the workplace. And I just want to thank you for just doing the work you do. You're impacting a lot of people. And so thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me again. And thank you for the questions. Sometimes when I get asked questions, they're just easy type questions. Your questions made me think. So I do appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. I had more, but I cut them. But yeah, maybe next time, next
Maybe
podcast.
next time. Oh, and I do have my own podcast called Blow Your Mindset, where we actually talk about things that blow your mind. So we spark that curiosity as well. Yeah, absolutely. So maybe Kevin, I can have you on there. You can ask me those questions.
Maybe you'll see me on there.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thank you so much, Nicole.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.